everyone, and welcome back to another Absurd Heroine video. So, this is a little late, and I apologize for that. I was planning on doing all of the different colors, you know, a video for each different color, including a section for multicolored and colorless. But since I only have one more day before the Zendikar early access event, which is tomorrow, I am just going to shove it all into one video. So we're probably going to go a little fast so that it's not like an hour and a half long. So let's get started, like right away. Yes, so this is the Zendikar review. I'm going to go through all the different cards and tell you what I think about them. I am not like a competitive expert or anything along those lines. I am more of a jank player. So that's kind of where I'm going to be coming at this from for the most part. Okay, without further ado, let us get started. So we're looking at white here. We have Allied Assault. Up to 2 target creatures each get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures in your party. Now this depends on... I don't think this is good, right? I mean, I suppose like in limited it's fine. And a lot of the cards here are going to be good in limited and just kind of like not very good in constructed. And that is because, I mean, well, this one particularly is we don't know how good party is. And honestly, party might not even be very good in limited. It might be really difficult to get like a good party deck in limited, so I don't even know if this is good limited. But you know, up to 2 target creatures get +X until end of turn, and that is gonna usually, I mean, gonna be 1 at least, right? Or usually 2, so +2/+2 on 2 creatures for 3 is pretty good in limited. Pretty good in limited, but I don't see it being used in constructed at all. Angel of Destiny. Okay, so here's an interesting card. Flying double strike, 2/6er for 5. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player gain that much life. So you gain the life, and they basically don't gain any life, right? Because you're dealing the damage, and then that damage is being recovered. So they stay where they are, and you gain the life. At the beginning of your end step, if you have at least 15 life more than your starting life total, each player Angel of Destiny attacked this turn loses the game. This is very easy to do for like a mono white life gain deck. Getting 15 more life than your starting total is not hard. So I can definitely see this happening. And the cool thing about this card is that Angel of Destiny doesn't need to actually get in and deal combat damage in order for this to work. It just needs to have attacked the player, right? So that's cool, and I can definitely see this working, and I plan on making a deck for this 100%. So I like it. Me gusta. Alright, Angel Heart Protector. A 3/2 for 3. Human Cleric. Whenever Angel Heart Protector enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Not good. This is an awful card. But I mean, this is a common, so what do you expect, right? It's not even going to make it into any Cleric decks or any human decks. It's not going to make it into anything, right? Because it doesn't have Flash. That's basically what it is. It doesn't have Flash. I guess I could see it in a Winota deck. Maybe? But there's so many better creatures that Winota can pull from a deck that it doesn't really matter, you know? Like, she's not going to be in anything. Sorry, Angel Heart Protector. Archon of Ameria. Flying 2/3 for 3. Each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. Non-basic lands your opponent control enter the battlefield tapped. This is a good for, like, white prison decks, right? This is a great white prison deck card. It's not a particular archetype that I like to play. Just because I don't find them fun to play against, and I like to have fun and have my opponents also have fun. So I don't usually play this kind of stuff, but it seems good. This seems like a fine card. I'm not sure how much play it will get, but I wouldn't be surprised if it saw some play in Mono White Prison, like I said. Yeah, so that's that. Archpriest of Iona. Now here's a card. Alright, so this is a X2 for 1, which is probably the most important thing about this card, is that it only costs 1. Archpriest of Iona's power is equal to the number of creatures in your party, so that's like 1, usually, at least. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end turn. I mean, this is like a white weenie card. This is a really good white weenie card. I don't know if white weenies are going to be coming back. We don't have anything like Luxon and Luxon and War... What the hell is the name of the card? I don't know. I'm going to put it up on the screen. But white weenies need, like, late game turn-ons. And I'm not sure if we've seen any yet. I haven't seen all the cards, by the way. some of the cards that I'm going to be reviewing today I haven't actually seen yet or read, so that's exciting. But yeah, I'm not sure if White Weenie is gonna happen, but this is a great White Weenie card if it does, right? Because this could be just like a 2/2 for 1, right? Awesome. Attended Healer. This is a core cleric, a 2/3 for 4. Whenever you gain life for the first time, each turn create a 1/1 cat creature token. And then another, for 3, another target cleric gains lifelink until end of turn. It's too expensive, I feel. I feel like this is too expensive. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, so, you know, token generator, and it's making little cats, and I've seen the cat token. I'll put the cat token up there. Oh my god, so cute. The little kitty token is amazingly adorable. So this gets like a +1 for being cute, but I don't think it's very good. Canyon Jerboa, a 1/2 for 3. Landfall. Whenever a land enters battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Nah. It's too expensive, I think. It is also very cute, so it gets +1 for being freaking adorable. But it's just, it's too expensive for what it is and what it does, I think. Okay, so Cliffhaven Sellsword, a core warrior, 3/1 for 2. Yep, we've seen this exact card printed many times. It's just a warrior this time, a core warrior this time, so. I don't see it being used in any warrior decks. There's plenty of good warriors out there. This is not one of them. I suppose limited, if you're trying to make a warrior deck in limited, this is a good choice. Other than that, no. Dauntless Unity. Okay, so for 2, an instant that has kicker for 2. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. If this spell was kicked, those creatures get +2/+1 until end. Well, that kicker sucks, doesn't it? This is fine. I think this is a fine combat trick. I don't know. I don't think that you'll see it very much in Constructed. More of a limited combat trick, but a good limited combat trick. It's pretty inexpensive, and it buffs all of your creatures, and you could pay even more to buff them even more. I think the kicker cost, as per usual, is a little overcosted, but yeah, it's decent. Then we have Disenchant. Disenchant is Disenchant. That's fine, right? Everybody knows it. It's all good. Emeria Captain, a 1/1 for 4. Ouch. Flying Vigilance. When Emeria Captain enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature in your party. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, this seems like a pretty good limited card. We still don't know if party is going to be good, right? I don't have a lot of eggs in that basket, the party basket, because I'm guessing that we're going to be seeing it. We're going to see party kind of like grow as a mechanic as the sets for this year or next year like roll out until we get to the D&D set, which is going to be like where party I'm sure really takes off and shines. So this is kind of like the build up to party. I don't think this is a good card now, but it might be a good card a year from now. Emeria's Call. Okay, so talking about good cards. For 7, 4 white, create 2 4/4 white warrior, angel warrior creature tokens with flying. Non-angel creatures you control gain indestructible until your next turn. I mean, this would suck and no one would ever use it if it wasn't also attached to a land. So as Emeria Shattered Skyclave enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. And then add white. So this is a, you know, I guess it's not a shock land, right? What is it? A lightning land? Wizard's lightning land? I don't know. Yeah, so this is good. It's a good card. Like, I imagine this to be in pretty much every white deck, because why not? Why wouldn't you put this in every white deck that you have? Depending on your, like, how many colors you're playing. You might want to, you know, you might not want to put this into, like, a 3-color deck, because you might want more, like, diverse lands in that case, but this is a great card. Like, it's a land that has a spell attached to it. I'm very much so looking forward to these dual face cards. I think they're incredibly strong, especially the ones that can come into play untapped, which are only the mythic ones. But I expect them to make quite a shake-up. So, yeah. Good card. Great card. Expect to see it. Alright. Expedition Healer. So, a core cleric, a 2/2 for 2. Vigilance. Expedition Healer has lifelink as long as you control another cleric. Nah. It's kind of crap, isn't it? I mean, it's a 2/2 for It's a 2/2 vigilance for 2, so like it's a bear with vigilance, so awesome. Passes the vanilla test, right? But maybe in a cleric deck, but there's so many better clerics than this, I think. So I don't see it. I don't think it has a place anywhere. Farsight Adept. Whenever, so let's see, a 3/3 for 3. When Farsight Adept enters the battlefield, you and target opponent each draw a card. That's interesting. I like that. I'm sure that has a home somewhere in some sort of like weird, janky card draw blink like deck. Maybe Orzhov deck where that has Underworld Dreams in it or something like that. The cool thing about this is that it's a white wizard, right? This is a wizard that is white. So that's pretty cool and rare. I like that. All right, Fearless Fledgling, a 1/1 for 2. Landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Fearless Fledgling and it gains flying until end of turn. Seems pretty strong. I don't think this is going to make it into any constructed decks, but this is a really good limited card, for sure. It just gets really, really big. It can become a big problem, so I like it. Belladore Retreat, here's one that I've been having my eye on. This is for an enchantment for 4, landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose 1, create a 2/2 white cat beast creature token, and put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and they gain vigilance until end of turn. Oh my goodness. Like, we talk about white weenie decks where, I mean, if you have that like core cleric that makes cats, like, and you just like have a bunch of cats or something along those, I mean, this seems like a bonkers card to me. This seems pretty good. I mean, it's a bit expensive, right? And it doesn't do anything the turn that it comes down unless you can put down another land. But yeah, I am very much so going to be building a Belladore Retreat deck. I think it's a good card. Good card. All right, Journey into Oblivion. It costs 5, which is very expensive, but it costs 1 less for each creature in your party. So it could be just 1 eventually. When Journey to Oblivion enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent. An opponent controls until Journey of Oblivion leaves the battlefield. So yeah, I mean, we know about this. This is a good mechanic. Unfortunately, we just don't know how well party works yet. So we will. We will find out. I like this card art, by the way. I like this art. I think it's very cool. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Journey to Oblivion. What happened? They just like disappeared into the nothingness. I like it. Alright, Kabira Outrider. A 3/3 for 4. When Kabira Outrider enters the battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature in your party. That's awful. This is awful. I hate this kind of stuff where it's like, it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn for derp. Like, that's not good. And not to mention that it doesn't pass the vanilla test, right? It's a 3/3, 0 evasion for 4. Human Warrior, like, there's way better warriors if you're trying to make a warrior deck. There is no deck that wants to play this. This is limited garbage. Like, limited fluff that you add to your deck if you have to, because you have to fill the space up with something. Alright. Kabira Takedown. An instant for 2. Kabira Takedown deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. This is a great card. This is a great card. It's attached to a land, so there's like no reason why you wouldn't put 4 of these in your white weenie deck. Like, this card's fucking bonkers. Love it. Good card. Kitesail Cleric. A 1/1 for 1. A great white weenie card. This is an excellent white weenie card. So flying when Kitesail Cleric enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, tap up to 2 target creatures. I mean, that part doesn't matter at all. It's overcosted once again. And this kind of, tap up to 2 target creatures is like very rarely ever a thing that people like care about. There's been a couple of cards. There are a couple cards in Standard right now that have this ability on it and nobody ever plays them because it's just not a very powerful mechanic. For Blade Master, Double Strike, Warrior, equipped warriors, or I'm sorry, a 1/1 warrior for 2. Double Strike, equipped warriors you control have Double Strike. This is a good card for an equipment deck. And I'm planning on making an equipment deck with warriors. I'm pretty sure this is going to be very strong in that kind of archetype deck. So look for it. I mean, it's specific, right? But it does have Double Strike, so it might do well in other, like, enchantment decks, that kind of stuff. Double Strike is kind of rare, so it might be... This is probably going to see play. It's going to see play somewhere. It's going to see play either in equipment decks, or enchantment decks, or both, or something along those lines, Is good. Not great, not like bonkers, but it'll be seen. This will definitely see play. Core Celebrant, a 1/4 core cleric for 3, whenever a core celebrant or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. I mean, this is like an Orator replacement, right? This is Orator's replacement. And it's not as good, I don't think, because it's too expensive. Yes, it has a bigger butt and that, I guess, is the reason why it's more expensive, but I don't think it having a bigger butt is better than what Orator was originally. So I don't see people playing this over Daxus, basically. Maybe they might put it in, like I said, as an Orator replacement for more of those interactions, but I think there are just better life gain techniques than this. Honestly. Legion Angel. Okay, so a 4/3 Angel Warrior for 4. Flying, when Legion Angel enters the battlefield, you may reveal a card you own named Legion Angel from outside the game and put it into your hand. So this is kind of like a bad Chamber Guardian. Is that the name? Growth Chamber Guardian? So my guess is that you only want one of these in your main deck and then put 3 of them into your sideboard. But then I play best of 1 usually, so sideboards aren't really that important to me unless there's something like this where it's like sideboard interaction specifically. But if you're playing, best of 3, would you give up 3 sideboard slots for this? I don't know if you would. Probably not, right? Because you don't want to have a ton of them in your deck. You want to have one of them in your deck and the rest of them in your sideboard so that you can go get the ones that are in your sideboard, right? I don't know. What do you think? I'd be curious to see what people generally think about how many Legion Angels they put in their main deck versus how many they put in their sideboard, but I'm of the mind that you just put 1. Just put 1 in your main deck, and if you come across it, it's strong. And you get, 4 Legion Angels, which is awesome. And if you don't see it, then you don't see it, but yeah, that's probably what I would do. What do you think? Tell me what you think about Legion Angel. Alright, Luminarch Aspirant. At the beginning of combat on your turn, a human cleric, a 1/1 human cleric for 2. I need to try and make those like how I talk about the card and introduce the card consistently. I want to make that consistent. So a 1/1 human cleric for 2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. This is fucking amazing. This is great. Like that +1/+1 counter deck that I just made wants this in it. Amazing. Like with like Conclave Mentor. Oh my god. Like this is a great card. You're gonna see this card. It's good. It is good. I think creature decks might be coming back. I am hoping that creature decks will be coming back. Alright. Mckindy Ox. Mckindy Ox is a 4/4 Ox for 5. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature and opponent controls. Limited, maybe. Like, I mean, no, limited definitely. So it's a big card. It's a big card that gets rid of blockers. So, yeah, definitely limited. Constructed, nope. Big nope there. Just doesn't do enough. Alrighty. Mckindy Stampede. A sorcery for 5. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until the end of turn. I mean, that's garbage, right? If it wasn't attached to a land. Like, look at that. This is... So, like, for a white weenie deck, this is fucking bonkers, right? Because you're not losing anything if you get it too early. You're just getting a land. Yes, it's a tapped land, so, like, that's kind of like, but... You know, it's a spell that's attached to a land. Like, what more do you want? This is awesome. This is great. You will see it. I'm pretty sure you will see this. Maul of the Skyclaves. So an equipment for 2, a white equipment for 2. When Maul of the Skyclaves enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature control. Every equipment in the set has that, which I think is cool. I'm not sure if it's OP or not, but it's cool. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, has flying and first strike, which is awesome, and then equip for 4. I think this is a great card. I mean, equipment in itself is not super strong, right? I think there are enough power. If any equipment is going to be used, it's going to be this one, I think. And there are some equipment synergies with the warriors right now and Hiri, so like I could see that being a deck. I don't know if it's going to be a top meta deck, probably not, but I'm going to make an equipment warrior deck with Nahiri, and Maul of Skyclaves is absolutely in it. As for limited, like this is limited bomb, right? This is a limited bomb. Absolutely. Yeah. So, you'll see this. You will see Maw of Skyclaves is good. Mesa Lynx, a 2/1 cat for 2. As long as it's not your turn, Mesa Lynx gets +0/+2. So it's a good defender. not a very good attacker. You know, I cannot justify ever kind of playing a card with just one toughness that doesn't give you like some real value, and this does not. So I don't see this being played in limited or in constructed. Harry Mesa links. Nahiri's Binding, an aura, an enchantment aura for 3. Enchant creature or planeswalker, enchanted permanent cannot attack, block, or its activated abilities cannot be activated. Like, this is great. This is a great card. Great card for white. I mean, it sucks that it like stays on the field and it's just, you know, enchanting a something instead of getting rid of it entirely. Oops, sorry. But I think this is very good. This is strong removal, I think. Yeah. Ondo Inversion, a sorcery for 8. Destroy all non-land permanents. But hey, look, it's attached to a land. And yes, it enters the battlefield tapped, but this is good. Out of all the lands that we've seen so far, I think this is probably the worst one, because not very many people play with this. Destroy all non-land permanents. I mean, that's not great, right? I mean, for a control deck, that is great, I suppose, but lots of control decks have permanents out on their side of the field nowadays, so I don't really see people playing with this unless it's some kind of jank setup deck that you really need absolute full board control in order to establish whatever it is that you were trying to do. So no, I don't see people ever using this. But it's there if you need it. It is there if you need it. Alright, Paired Tactician. When a 3/2 human warrior for 3. Whenever Paired Tactician and at least one other warrior attack, put a +1/+1 counter on Paired Tactician. I think that's awful. Yeah. Maybe White Weenie deck, but it's too expensive for a White Weenie deck, so yeah, I don't see this being used like at all. Even in warrior decks, there are better warriors. Practice Tactics. An instant for 1. Choose target attacking or blocking creature. Practice Tactics deals damage to that creature equal to twice the number of creatures in your party. Seems pretty good. It's super cheap, so it's the right amount. And in a party deck, like, yeah, this goes in a party deck, right? Like 100% goes into a party deck. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's good. It's good for what it wants to do, and if you were playing party, yeah, it's good. All right, Pressure Point. For 2, tap target creature, draw a card. So this is kind of like shitty Revitalize. This is kind of like shitty Revitalize. I mean, I don't see this replacing Revitalize. Maybe white control decks with white in it want to play this and Revitalize. I don't really see that, because this card is not nearly as good unless there's a creature out, you know, on the opposing field. So, no, I don't see people really playing this. Maybe, but I think there are better cards than this. Decks that want this in it have better options, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. All right, Prowling Felidar. A 2/3 cat beast for 4. Vigilance and landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Prowling Felidar. This is good and limited. That's about it. Yeah. You're not going to be safe constructed at all. Resolute Strike. Instant for 1. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it's a warrior, you may attach an equipment you control to it. So like I was talking about before with equipment synergies, like this is an excellent card for that archetype, and it's garbage for all of the other ones. I mean, I guess in limited, it's a good combat trick. But if you, you know, you're not putting this in your constructed deck unless it is specifically a warrior equipment constructed deck. It's very specific. It is good for what it does, but it is a very specific kind of card. All right, Seagate Banneret, a 1/2 for 1 core warrior. And for 5 creatures you control, get +1/+1 until end of turn. I mean, it passed the vanilla test, right? It's a 1/2 for 1. Like, so White Weenie? But I don't, like, at this point, we have better White Weenies, I think? I don't know. I'd have to take a look and just, like, see all of the White Weenies and be like, okay, what makes the cut? And does Seagate Banneret make the cut? My guess is no. My guess is no, but maybe. But maybe. We'll have to see. And that depends on whether is White Weenie going to be also a warrior deck. Like, that's a question. Are there enough white warrior weenies? Like, what were the other white weenies up here? Were they warriors? Nope, cleric. So maybe it's a party deck. White weenie party deck? Where's the other one? Cleric. Yeah, so I don't know. Probably not. We'll probably not see Seagate Banneret. That is my guess. Sejiri Shelter, a instant for 2. Target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. You're gonna see this. This is awesome. This is a great card because it's got a land on it. Like, this is the right cost for something. Like, it would, you know, it wouldn't be bad if it was one less than that, but I think maybe if this was only 1 white, then maybe this would be too good, right? So you gotta give and take a little bit. You have to compromise, but you're gonna see this card. Like, this card is great because it's got a land on it. Bam, so good. These cards are so good. All right, Shepard of Heroes, 3/4 Angel Cleric for 5. Flying, when Shepard of Heroes enters the battlefield, gain 2 life for each creature in our party. Yeah. Like, we just have to find out if party is good. Once again, we just have to see whether party is good or not. My guess is that it's, so far from what I've seen, my guess is that it's not good enough yet. We shall see. We shall see. It's not terrible. It's a 3/4 flyer. So, like, this is good and limited. You gain 2 life no matter what. Yeah, this is probably just good and limited, I think. Unless party is, like, amazing. I don't see this being good at all. Skyclave Apparition, a 2/2 core spirit for 3. When Skyclave Apparition enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control with converted mana cost 4 or less. Okay. When Skyclave Apparition leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner creates an XX blue illusion creature token, where X is the converted mana cost of the exiled card. So, this is like Uru hate, right? Like, I mean, I think this is good right now because of how much, like, graveyard shenanigans we have going on. And it's permanent, right? So, like, Jun's Sacrifice hates this, right? Like, you can get rid of ovens. Like, if you just had this creature out and you, like, you know, blink it like a billion times, right? You can get rid of everything that, you know, Jun's Sacrifice cares about. That seems pretty good. And then they just have, like, a bunch of, like, little flying dudes. Or they're not even flying. Blue illusion creature tokens. Like, this seems really strong. This is a good card. This is a good card. So expect to see Skyclave Apparition in sideboards, if nowhere else, you know? Yeah. Skyclave Cleric, a 1/3 core cleric for 2. When Skyclave Cleric enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. And it's attached to land. So you know what I'm gonna say? This card's good, I think. This one's more of an I think, because I'm not sure about the, I mean, it wants to be like, if I were to be making like a cleric deck, right? Which is another deck that I plan on making. I'm gonna be making a cleric deck. Does this card make it into a cleric deck? I think so. I think I play 4 of these instead of lands, right? Like, this card's bonkers. Like, I can't get over how powerful these cards are. The dual face cards are just like freaking amazing. I'm like wondering to myself whether people will play regular lands now at all, or whether they'll just play these dual face lands all the time. I mean, I know that's slow, right? Because all of them come into play tapped, but it's like, they just seem so strong. Like, why would you play this instead of a regular plains? Why would you play a regular plains instead of this? Right? Ever. So, I don't know. Seems very strong. I think this is a great card. I mean, is it amazing? Is it blowing my mind away? Like, of course not. Of course it's not. But, like, it's so, like, it's so useful. It's so useful. Yeah. Anyway. Squad Commander, a 3/3 core warrior for 4. When Squad Commander enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white core warrior creature token for each creature in your party. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, creatures you control gain +1/+0 and gain indestructible until your turn. I mean, that seems really strong, right? So for 4, so you find like a wizard for 1, let's not get specific. You find a party member for 1, a party creature for 1, a party creature for 2, a party creature for 3, and then you slam this guy on turn 4. That seems good, right? That seems pretty good to me. But once again, it really depends on whether party creatures are good. So we will just have to wait and see. But this is a good party creature. If party is good, this is a good card. So, yeah. Smite the Monstrous. I know you. Hello, Smite the Monstrous. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, instant for 4. This is good limited removal. That's it. Just limited removal. Nothing, you know, it's not good for any other purpose. Like, it's too expensive. Very fucking expensive removal. So, yep. Taeethon Raptor, a 2/2 bird for 3. Flying, when Taeethon Raptor enters the battlefield, you may turn or land your control to its owner's hand. This is too expensive, but I love what it does. This is a great card for... I mean, this is a really good thing to have in Landfall. And not just Landfall, but like Landfall with lands like this, right? So for example, say you had like 4 of these out, and you're, you know, both of your opponents are kind of like head to head and you have no cards in your hand. You can cast a Taeethon Raptor and bounce one of these utility cards back to your hand. And I mean, this is not a very good example because, you know, Skyclave Cleric is not exactly what you want to be casting in order to like break a board stall state. But say it's an Amaria's Call. Say you have this on the battlefield, right? And then you get that bird. You're like, oh, yeah. You know, here we go. Bounce Amaria's Shattered Skyclave back to your hand and then cast it. Like, it seems so good, but the creature's so crap. So I don't think we're gonna see this, but I want to see, I don't think this bird is good. I don't think we're gonna see very much of this bird, but I want to see more of this kind of stuff. Return land you control to its owner's hand. And I can understand why it's so limited, this ability. Like, this is the only card that I've seen in Zendikar that has this written on it. So maybe there's more, maybe I've missed others that have it. But it's good. That is very, very good. And you know, in Landfall, it's a Landfall set and has these weird lands, so you have to be really careful not to like abuse that. But it's good. That is good. And that is why I think that Shepherd of the Flock is going to be good when this comes out. All right, Tazri, Beacon of Unity. So this is a 4/6 human warrior for 5. And Tazri is like, I mean, it's a legendary creature, right? She's got story. This girl's got story. She killed an angel. That's why she has this halo around her neck. Yeah, she's pretty badass. I mean, she didn't kill it because she's like, die, angel. The angel asked her to kill it. So she did. And she was like cursed. Anyway, lore, whatever. All right, so this spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. So it could cast 1 if you wanted to. So like, say that, you know, we have that same situation as the, where did it go? This dude over here, sorry. I scrolled up when it was just right over here. So after you cast your squad commander, then you have your Tazri, right? So say that you've cast party creatures all the way up to that point. This only costs 1, right? So you could cast it for 1, and if you had you know, your land situation just perfect, then you could do this ability afterwards. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, Wizard, and or Ally cards from among them and put them into your hand and put the rest on the bottom of your library. I mean, I don't think that she's good. I think that I think that this ability is way too restrictive in its cost. This requires a very specific deck. Does that deck exist? Will that deck exist? We're just really gonna have to, like I said, we're just really gonna have to wait and see whether party is good or not. Like, these 2 are good party cards. But are there enough in this set to make good party cards? Probably not. I'm a broken record at this point. Like, probably not. We're gonna have to wait for the rest of the sets until the D&D set comes out. Like, so I don't think Tazri is gonna be great. But if you get her, don't, like, in a pack, like, don't be too sad because she might be good in the future at some point. All right, so that's all the white. Great. Anti-cognition. We're starting on blue. And I've been doing this for about a half an hour, so this might take a while. Anti-cognition. An instant for 2. Counter target creature or planeswalker spell unless its controller plays 2. If an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, instead counter that spell and scry 2. Yeah. Seems pretty okay. Pretty okay. For, you know, milling is gonna be a thing. Like, 100% mill, like Rogue, Dimir, mill, I think. is gonna be in the meta. I would be really surprised if it didn't become like a meta deck. So, is this in there? Maybe. I'm sure it's in some people's sets, right? I don't think it's like a must-have in that kind of deck, but I think that a lot of people will probably put this in it. So yeah, it's decent. It's decent. Bane Veil, an instant for 2. Creatures your opponents control get -2, -0 until end of turn. That's shit. This is probably the worst one that we've seen so far. Yeah, by far. This is the worst one that we've seen so far. So maybe we won't see this one in it. In these kinds of decks. This one probably won't be played very much, but we'll have to see what the other blue land options are. But that's garbage. Sorry. Absolute garbage. But yeah, but because it's attached to a land, you might see it. So anyway. Bubble Snare. An aura for 1 blue. Enchant creature. When Bubble Snare enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. It's alright. What am I saying? This, I mean, I don't know. This gets rid of an Uru, right? This is like Uru removal in a way. And I'm sorry that that's just kind of the creature. That is the creature that I think about removing. Because it gets rid of, it takes care of it. It doesn't put it in the graveyard, which is where, not really where you want Uru to go. The Uru stays on the field and you can't get its ability. It's basically kind of like disabled. But is it a good card? No, I don't think so. It's only 1. It's decent. I still don't think that it'll ever hit Constructed. I don't think you'll see it in Constructed. Yeah. So probably only limited. Cascade Seer. A 3/3 Merfolk Wizard for 4. When Cascade Seer enters the battlefield, scry X, where X is the number of creatures in your party. No, not good. Too expensive. Like, it's just too expensive. If this was 2, then way better. Like, ugh. Charix, the Raging Isle. A legendary Leviathan Crab. A 0/17 Leviathan Crab for 4. I mean, spells your opponents cast that target Charix, the Raging Isle, cost 2 more to cast. And 3, Charix gets X plus X minus X until end of turn, where X is the number of islands you control. So I don't know. There's jank here somewhere, 100%. Not in standard right now, because all of the, you know, your creatures deal damage equal to their toughness rather than their power have all left standard with the Ravnica sets going away, right? So we don't have Huatli anymore. We don't have High Alert anymore. Not in standard. I mean, is there a High Alert deck in Historic with this card in it? Probably. I mean, this seems pretty fun to me. This seems like a fun card. Is it a good one? No. I don't think so. But it is fun. And I will definitely try to make a deck with this card, for sure. This is the kind of card that makes me like Magic, right? Weird ass card. Alright. Chilling Trap. An instant for 1. Target creature gets -4/-0 until the end of turn. If you control a wizard, draw a card. Like, this might be in like a wizard spell deck, but I think there's way too many things that want to be in a wizard spell deck that's not this, that are better than this. So I think this is pretty bad, honestly. I think it's pretty bad. Cleric of Chill Depths, a 1/3 Merfolk Cleric for 2. Whenever Cleric of Chill Depths blocks a creature, that creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Like, bleh. Not very good. Like, this is limited fluff. More limited fluff. Concerted Defense, an instant for 1, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1 plus an additional 1 for each creature in your party. I mean, it's a Spell Pierce. It's like a better Spell Pierce, right? Is that what I'm thinking of? Spell Pierce? Non-creature spell? Yeah. So, yeah, actually, now that I think about it, this card's pretty good. I mean, it's not better than Censor, right? Because you can't cycle it. And what kind of... I mean... Does this go... Maybe this goes in the Dimir Rogue deck that we were talking about. I think this is good. I think this is good and you will see it. How good is it? I mean, maybe it's really good. Maybe this is really good. Maybe this goes into like some creature control decks. Yeah, alright. I'm gonna say that this card is good. This is a good card. And I will probably play with it and I would expect you to see it. So yeah. Confounding Conundrum, an enchantment for 2. When Confounding Conundrum enters the battlefield, draw a card. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player had another land in the battlefield under their control this turn, they return a land they control to their owner. So this is like anti-ramp, right? This is like the anti-Sultai-ramp deck card. I think this is an excellent sideboard card. I think there will be multiples of these in sideboards. Every sideboard that has blue in it. I kind of wish that this worked for you too. It's only opponents. But I guess if this happened to you, that could be very abusable. Why I kind of want it. Right, because if you have a landfall deck, you can just like boom, 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 boom. Things back into your hand, down, and back into your hand, and then down, and then landfall, landfall, landfall. But it could also work for the spell lands, right? So the way that Sultai Ramp gets around that is by putting spells on the back of their lands, I suppose. So that you put a land down, and then you put another land down, and then you get a spell back into your hand from the lands that you had, because you get to choose it, right? They return a land they control to their owner, to its owner's hand. So like they get to choose what land they get to bring back. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see how this affects the meta. I do think that it is probably in every sideboard for blue decks, but I think there are ways of circumventing that ability or taking advantage of that ability. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. We shall have to see, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited for this card. I think it's cool. Heim Chronicler, a 2/2 Merfolk Wizard for 3. Whenever you cast a kicked spell, draw a card, then discard a card. When Coral Helm Chronicler enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a card with a kicker ability from among them and put it into your hand to put the rest in the bottom of your library in random order. This is not a good card. Ugh. So I love Kicker. I've always loved Kicker. Kicker is a kind of crappy mechanic because Kicker is always overcosted. So making like a Kicker tribal deck is... I'm gonna do it. I'm definitely gonna make Kicker tribal. And this card is going to be in my Kicker tribal deck, but it's not good. Like, it's overcosted. This should be 1 less. This should absolutely be 1 less. And if it was, then it would be way better. But yeah, I mean, it's a 2/2. It's a 2/2 for 3 that does like nothing. I mean, I guess it puts like 1 card into your hand that has Kicker, which means that it's going to be an overcosted card. An overcosted card. So unfortunately, I don't really see this as being a thing. But man, do I ever wish it was? Do I ever wish it was? All right, Cunning Geyser Mage, a 3/2 human wizard for 3 with Kicker. Like, when Cunning Geyser Mage enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return up to 1 other target creature to its owner's hand. Like, that cost, if you wanted to do that, it's 6. This is a 3/2 for 6 that returns another target creature to its owner's hand. like, I mean, it's a common, right? So it's kind of like supposed to be garbage, but good God, that's a perfect example of how bad Kicker is. All right, Deliberate. Deliberate. An instant for 2. Scry 2, then draw a card. Okay, fine. Interesting card art. Expedition Diviner, a 3/2 Merfolk Wizard for 4, flying. As long as you control another wizard, Expedition Diviner has. When this creature dies, draw a card. Too expensive. I mean, it's a 3/2 flyer, right? Good and limited. Good and limited. Not very good elsewhere. I guarantee you that wizard's going to be a deck. This is not going to make it into that deck. Field Research, a sorcery for 3, with Kicker for 3. Draw 2 cards. If this spell was kicked, draw 3 cards instead. Like, why would you play this over, you know, into the story or something like that? You wouldn't. You wouldn't, unless you were playing a Kicker deck, and in that case, I'm sorry. I don't even know if this is going to make it into the game. Alright, Glacial Grasp. An instant for 3. Tap target creature, its controller mills 2 cards. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step and draw a card. Good and limited. Not good anywhere else. Glasspool Mimic. A Shapeshifter Rogue. A 0/0 Shapeshifter Rogue for 3. You may have Glasspool Mimic enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature you control, except it's a Shapeshifter Rogue in addition to its other types. And it's attached to a land! This card is great! This card is great! It has to be a creature you control, though. So, it's got to be something. You have to have a creature. This has to be in a creature deck, obviously. But it's a great card for a creature deck. So, yeah. I love it. I love it. Inscription of Insight. A sorcery for 4 with kicker. Choose 1 if the spell was kicked. Choose any number instead. Return up to 2 target creatures to the owner's hands. Scry 2, then draw 2. Target player creates an XX blue illusion creature token where X is the number of cards in their hand. That is so expensive! That is so expensive, and it's a sorcery, right? If this was an instant, then then it would be bonkers, I guess. Maybe if it was an instant, it would be too good. But return. So for 4, return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands. Great. Ugh. But okay. For 4, scry 2, then draw 2. Sorcery. This needs to be an instant. Target player creates an XX blue illusion creature token where X is the number of cards in their hand. For 4. Oh man. This card wants to be good. This card wants to be good so bad, but it's not. And it's not specifically because it's a sorcery. And the kicker's too expensive. The kicker should be 2. There's a card that costs 6 that's an instant that does way more than this. What is it? The one that the chick's opening up her face and there's a cake inside her face. And it does way more than this at instant speed for cheaper. Why? Just because it's got kicker, it's so expensive? I don't understand. This card's not good. I mean, it wants to be good, but I really don't think that it is. Is it going to be in my kicker deck? Absolutely. Is it good? I don't think so. Okay, Into the Royal. An instant for 2. Kicker 2. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If the spell was kicked, draw a card. This isn't bad. This isn't bad. This is probably going to be in my kicker deck. Actually, no, this is 100% going to be in my kicker deck. This is one of the better kicker cards. Because that is not overcosted, I don't think. It's a little bit. It's a skosh overcosted. Right? Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Because it's a non-land permanent, I think it's worth this cost. Because Unsummon is specifically creatures, and then Stern Dismissal is specifically opponents' creatures or enchantments. This one is any non-land permanent. So your stuff, their stuff, anything. So this is good. This is a good card. For kicker. This is a good card for kicker. Jace, Mirror Mage. Our first Planeswalker that we are going through this review. Cool. So Jace is cost 3. Kicker 2. When Jace Mirror Mage enters the battlefield, if Jace was kicked, then create a token that's a copy of Jace Mirror Mage, except it's not legendary and its starting loyalty is 1. And his +1 is Scry 2, and his 0 is draw a card, reveal it, remove a number of loyalty counters equal to that card's converted mana cost from Jace Mirror Mage. I don't know, honestly. I don't know how good this is. I think it's pretty good. This seems pretty good to me. I mean, if you know what's on top of your deck, it's even better. I don't know if there's anything that currently allows you to see the top of your deck. Mystic Forge, is that it? Is Mystic Forge even in Standard 2021? Because Bolas's Citadel, and that would actually be really funny from a lore standpoint to play Jace Mirror Mage with Bolas's Citadel. Bolas's Citadel and the other one, the red one, Frenzy. This would be cool with that, so that you could help draw the cards that you don't want to cast with those cards. But like I said, that would have to be work now. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see the power level of this. I think that it's pretty good because it makes 2 of them. You could make 2 of them, which is wrong, right? You get to scry 4. and then like draw cards. The other, like, you just get to draw cards with it. So you're at least drawing 2 cards. Probably not. You're probably scrying 2 and drawing 1, or just scrying 4, like, or scrying 2 twice, which is not the same as scrying 4. So I think this is strong. I think it's strong. But like I said, I'm not sure because it can't protect itself. Jace cannot protect itself. So I don't know. I don't know. I want to like it. I want to think that it is good, but I'm not sure. Jawari Disruption. Counter target spell unless its controller plays 1. And it's attached to a land. This is a great card. This card is great. This card should be a 4 of in every deck that has blue. Mostly every deck that has blue. So yeah. Love it. Love it! Alright, Living Tempest. A 3/3 elemental for 5. Flash and flying. Nope. Way too expensive. This is limited, I suppose, but maybe not even. Limited fluff. Lull Mage's Domination. A sorcery for X blue. This spell costs 3 less to cast if it targets a creature whose controller has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. Gain control of target creature with converted mana cost X. That's good. This is a good card in that deck, right? So there is the mill's gonna be a thing. Mill is gonna be a thing, and this is gonna be in those mill decks, in like every single one. If not in the main deck, then absolutely in the sideboard. So yeah, good card. Maddening Cacophony. This is also gonna be in that deck, right? Sorcery for 2. Kicker. Okay, so each opponent mills 8 cards, and if the spell was kicked, instead each opponent mills half their library rounded up. Like, this is a good kicker card. This is a good kicker card. I'm not sure if it makes it into the kicker deck. This is going to be in the mill deck, in the Dimir Rogue mill deck. That's definitely going to be a thing, and this is going to be in it, 100%. 100%. Good card. Good card. Master of the Winds. A 1/4 flying Sphinx wizard for 4. When Master of the Winds enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery or wizard spell, you may have Master of the Winds base power and toughness become 4/1 or 1/4 until end of turn. That seems strong. I'm pretty sure this is going to be in the wizard deck. I wish that she had more power. She seems kind of weak. She seems kind of weak, and if she becomes powerful, she seems extremely vulnerable. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That is obviously the worst part about this card, is that it's, you know, a 1/4 or a 4/1. Right, so it's either incredibly weak or incredibly easy to kill. But everything else about it is pretty cool. And I think she's going to be in wizard decks. Yeah. I think she's okay. Just okay. Merfolk Falconer. A 4/4 Merfolk Wizard for 5. Flying whenever you cast a kick spell, draw 2, scry 2. Like, what the why is this so expensive? This should be 4. Right? It shouldn't be 5. This should be 4. Okay. There are so many cards that exist that pass the vanilla test that have other stuff that are good about them, right? Like, just because this card has kicker in the description, even though it's not a kicked card itself, it seems overcosted. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's some sort of, somebody doesn't like kicker stuff. I don't know. Maybe at one point they were just too powerful, so they decided to make them all bad. I don't know. I don't think it's good. It's not even gonna, I don't think you even play this in a kicker deck, right? I'm probably not playing it in a kicker deck, unless there's nothing else to play. Then maybe I'll play it. Okay. Merfolk Windrobber. A 1/1 for 1. Merfolk Rogue. Flying, when Merfolk Windrobber deals combat damage to a player, that player mills a card. Sacrifice Merfolk Windrobber, draw a card. Activate this ability only if the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. This is a fucking amazing card. This card is awesome. This card's awesome. Like, you want this in your Rogue mill deck, 100%. You will see this card. Definitely. Definitely. So, yeah. Okay, negate. Counter target non-creature spell. Oh yeah, negate. Yeah, sure, fine. Negate's fine. Negate's good. You'll see negate. Nimble Trap Finder. A 2/1 human rogue for 2. Nimble Trap Finder can't be blocked if you had another Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, or Wizard enter the battlefield under your control this turn. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, creatures you control gain whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card until end of turn. I mean, this is so this is your 2-drop rogue, right? In the party deck. We were talking about this. Like, you want a 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop that warrior that puts dudes into play. So this is your 2-drop. This is your ideal 2-drop for that party deck. And it's good in a party deck. I mean, it's a 2/1 for 2, you know, but it can be unblockable, like, and it has the synergy, right? And if you have, you know, it draws you cards. So if the party ends up being good, then this card is good. If party ends up being bad, then this card is bad. Okay. Risen Riptide, a 0/5 for elemental for 2. Whenever you cast a kicked spell, Risen Riptide has base power 5 and 5 base power and toughness 5 until end. Like, this is bad. Like, it's overcosted. This should be 2. If this was 2, it would be good. But since it's not, it's not. Like, I feel like maybe if it got flying, maybe then it would be too powerful. I mean, if this cost 2, it was a 0/3 and got base power toughness 3 and 3, or like 4, and then got flying on top of it, then it would be good. But this doesn't get around like dumb little tokens. Like, I don't think that it's good. It makes me so sad. Alright, Rooster Drakes. Okay, here's a good one. This is going into my kicker deck. Absolutely. When Rooster Drakes, so it's an enchantment for 1 blue. When Rooster Drakes enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token flying. And whenever you cast a kicked spell, create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. So, this is good. This is good by itself, right? So, like, I mean, it's not good by itself. Obviously, you want to play it in a kicker deck, but, like, it can create Drakes on the turn it comes out, so it's not doing nothing the turn it comes out, but you can also cast it immediately. Like, it's got, you know, it's very cheap. This is a good kicker spell. This is a good kicker spell. Love it. And I will be playing. Ruin Crab. This is a great card as well. It's a 0/3 crab creature for 1. Like, that's good already in particular decks, right? Because it's comes out on turn 1 and it's got a butt, so it's protection. And then landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 3 cards. This is an excellent card. This goes in every mill deck, right? And it might be the only landfall card that goes into those mill decks. But what the fuck, like, you're milling 3 cards right away. Of course, since Uro is still a thing, milling your opponent is dangerous, but we'll just have to see how that shapes out. Like, there are number of ways of, like, dealing with Uros in the graveyard. I think it's good. I think this is a good card. Seagate Restoration, a sorcery for 7. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand plus 1. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. That is garbage, but since it is on top of a land that comes into play, untapped, then that makes it great. This card's great. It's probably the worst out of all of these, you know, like mythic lands that come into play untapped but also have spells on them. But just say it's late game and you have that bird that returns a land to your hand or whatever, right? It's late game, you have like a couple of lands in your hand that you don't want to put down for whatever reason. Then you like return this land to your hand and then you cast it. And, you know, unfortunately it's not draw a certain amount of cards, it's draw whatever is in your hand plus 1, which means that you could just be this is 7 mana draw 1, which is garbage, obviously. But if you have a lot of cards in your hand, then it's good, I suppose. I don't know. This is the worst one that I've seen so far. This is the worst one for sure, but it's still pretty good because it's attached to a land. Seagate Stormcaller. Speaking of good kickers, when Seagate so it's a 2/1 human wizard for 2. When Seagate Stormcaller enters the battlefield, copy the next instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 2 or less. You cast. Wait, I'm sorry. Let me start over. When Seagate Stormcaller enters the battlefield, copy the next instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 2 or less. You cast this turn. That's just, I get caught up at that part. You cast this turn when you cast it. worded weirdly. If Seagate Stormcaller was kicked, copy that spell twice instead. You may choose new targets for the copy. This one seems good. This seems good. I don't know, like, the ideal spell that you could cast, but this seems pretty good. Like, in a, like, Luros Arcanist deck, obviously that you probably wouldn't do for Luros Arcanist because mana would be too wonky, but is Dreadhorde Arcanist a wizard? I think it's a zombie wizard, right? I'm not sure. But, like, I think that this is a good card. I think this is a good card. I don't know exactly, I don't have in my head exactly, like, where it goes, what kind of deck it goes into, but there's absolutely 100% potential for them to be really, really good. And I think it would be in a Luros deck. I think this is bonkers for a Luros deck. Yeah. Like, so Dimir Luros, right? You can cast it from the graveyard. If you have a Luros out and you have, like, a Dreadhorde, you know. Dreadhorde, I'm just thinking Dreadhorde Arcanist because of one of the decks that was played in the Mythic Invitation. Like, blew my mind away, and it was a Luros Arcanist deck. But anyway. So you have your Luros out, this is in the graveyard, and you have, like, village rights. You have village rights. Then you, like, can cast village rights, sacrificing whatever the hell, something other than Luros that's on the battlefield. And then you can bring, or rather, sorry, you bring this back first, then you use village rights and copy village rights twice. So you draw 4 cards for 1 creature, and this was, like, it's just, this seems good, is what I'm trying to say. And that's just one example of how it could be good. So yeah, I expect Seagate Stormcaller to be in a lot of stuff, not just kicker decks, not just kicker. I actually don't expect the kicker to be seen very much, because that's expensive, right? This is, like, what, 7? Like, so on top of you needing mana to cast the spell, you have to have 7 mana open to cast this. Like, stupid. The kicker's, like, way too expensive. You're never gonna see this kicked. But it's good as it is as, like, a regular card. Okay, that was enough on that card. Alright, so Seafloor Stalker, a 2/3 Merfolk Rogue for 3. Seafloor, and then when you tap 5, Seafloor Stalker gets +1/+0 until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. Activate. This ability costs 1 less for each creature in your party. Like, I guess, like, ugh, this is kind of like a crap party card, right? So, I don't think it's very good. Shell Shields, an instant for 1, kicker 1. Okay, this is a good kicker card. This is a great kicker card. Target creature you control gets +0/+3 until end of turn, and if it was kicked, it also gains hexproof. So this is like dive down. This is like slightly more expensive dive down, but with a kicker. So I think that's great. I think this is a great card, and this will go in kicker decks, 100%. Alright, Cylinder Vision, an instant for 3. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an instant or sorcery card from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This card is awesome. This card is awesome. Card's awesome. It's like attached to a land. That ability attached to land, like, it's well costed. It's pretty good. It's instant. Like, what else do you want from a magic card? This is beautiful. I love this card. Very good. Very good. Skyclave Plunderer. I'm sorry, Skyclave Plunder, a sorcery for 5. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is 3 plus the number of creatures in your party. Put 3 of those cards into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Too expensive. That's, like, really expensive. And it's sorcery. Ugh. I don't even know if it goes in party decks, you know. No, I don't think so. I think that's pretty bad. Too expensive for what it does. Skyclave Squid. Alright. Cool. A squid. A 3/2 squid for 2. Defender and landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, Skyclave Squid attack as though it didn't have defender. Bad. That's a bad card. It's not going to be seen anywhere. It is a cute little cuttlefish, but it is not going to, you're not going to see it anywhere. Sure-Footed Infiltrator, a 2/3 Merfolk Rogue for 4. Tap another untapped rogue you control. Sure-Footed Infiltrator can't be blocked this turn. Whenever it deals damage to a player, combat damage to a player, draw a card. Too expensive. It's too expensive. I don't see this being in any deck. Really. Oh. It's cool. It is cool, but there are way better rogues, and it is too expensive for what it does, for what it is. 2, 3, 4. All right. Kazim Royal Mage. A 2/1 Merfolk Wizard for 2, kicker 4. When Tazim Royal Mage enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Like, first of all, this card is absolutely garbage by itself without being kicked. So you would never, ever, ever want to play this card without kicking it. Ever. Because it's a 2/1 for 2. That does nothing. It's just a Merfolk Wizard. A 2/1 Merfolk Wizard. No, like, evasion, nothing. So it's absolutely garbage, and you would only want to play it if you're kicking it. But just imagine if this kicker didn't exist and it was just up here, right? So this was 6, you know? Like 1 blue, 5 colorless that had this text in it. Like, garbage. Garbage. This is such a bad card. Never playing it. Thieving Skydiver. Alright, a 2/1 Merfolk Rogue for 2. And kicker X, and X can't be 0. Flying, when Thieving Skydiver enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, gain control of target artifact with converted mana cost X or less, and if it was an equipment, attach it to Thieving Skydiver. Good. This is a very rare good kicker card, right? So this steals ovens. This steals ovens, and it doesn't give it back. This does not give the artifact back. It does not say gain control until end of turn. You just get it. Mine. Yoink. Good. This is a good card. And we'll have to see, like, it steals Lucky Clovers. This steals Lucky Clovers. Just like, that's mine. Thank you very much. Your contribution is appreciated. But, I mean, so it's probably, like, a sideboard card. Unless you're playing, like, Kicker Synergy deck. Then it's main board. Kicker Synergy. But yeah, I like it. It's good. Umaro Wizard, a 4/3 Merfolk Wizard for 5. Whenever you cast an instant spell or a wizard spell, Umaro Wizard gains flying until the end of turn. That's kind of poop. But since it's attached to a land, it's going to make its way into wizard decks, right? So, instants, like, any kind of instant spell, wizard, or wizard and/or wizard deck, this is going to be in it. In replace of an island. Right? So you just replace 4 islands with this. And that seems good. It just seems good. If you can't cast it, like, then fine. Just put it down as land. Good. Wind Rider Wizard. A 2/2 human wizard for 3. Flying, whenever you cast an instant sorcery or wizard spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Is this good? It's so close to being good. I feel like it isn't, though. I feel like it's just a little too expensive. Or, like, a little underpowered. I feel like if it was a 3/3 or a 3/2, I feel like maybe if it was 3/2, it would be playable. As it is right now, I'm not sure. I mean, it seems good. A little expensive for being wizard. Be played in, like, a spells wizard deck. I feel like spells wizard decks are very aggro, usually, and this is not aggro enough. But this is a pretty good ability. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery or wizard spell, you may draw a card, and if you do, discard a card. I feel like that's pretty good. So, I don't know. I'm not sure if that makes the cut, but it's close. It's close. Alright, Zulliport Duelist. A 1/1 human rogue for 1. Flash, when Zulliport Duelist enters the battlefield, up to 1 target creature gets -2, -1, and -0 until end of turn. Its controller mills 2 cards. Yeah, this goes in the rogue mill deck. This goes in the rogue mill deck, for sure. It might be on the chopping block depending on how many other good rogues there are, but it's very cheap, and it's got flash, and it mills on top of all of the other mill synergy. So yeah, I think it makes the cut. I think this makes the cut, but it's close. It's close. All right, so now we're finally in black, and honestly, I've been recording for like an hour, and I would really like to do all of this in one, but I don't think it's gonna happen, because who the heck would watch 3 hours of me talking about cards in one go? So I'm gonna stop it here, and I'll continue with black into green, into red, for the next video, and hopefully trying to get them all out today. So we'll see. All right, so we'll see you next time.